Hi.
Hi,
What's your full name?
Carlo Lombardo.
Were you born here?
Yes.
When were
What
you
is
born?
here?
In Thunder Bay.
Yes.
When were you born?
March 17th, 1971.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions now.
Sure.
Can you remember when Terry Fox began his marathon of hope across Canada?
Yep.
What do you remember about it?
I remember that he stopped just outside of Thunder Bay, and it was nationwide news, and they were telling us all about his whole journey and his fight against cancer at St. Francis School during an assembly.
Were you at St. Francis School when it was going on?
Yep.
When he was running through?
Yes.
Did they, how did they kind of tell you?
No, the teacher told us, and then they had an assembly because we were going to do the run.
Oh, okay, so you did the run,
Yeah.
while he was in Thunder Bay.
I don't think so. While he was at Thunder Bay, everything kind of all stopped because that's when he actually stopped. But it was nationwide news, and I remember they had an assembly and they talked to us, the teachers. I was 10 years old. I don't remember that much.
Okay. So what do you think its significance? Did you feel like you were kind of in the spotlight because it was in Thunder Bay and all of Canada was watching it?
Yep.
So it felt pretty significant as
Oh, for sure.
a whole thing to Canada and yeah. So
Yep.
could you say that it increased your feelings of nationalism towards your country?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So when Canada's men's hockey team won the Olympic gold medal in the 2010 Winter Games in Vancouver, were you overjoyed,
Yep.
or did you not really care?
I was happy. I remember the goal, Sidney Crosby. Yep.
Okay. Did you were you having a party, or were you at?
No, I didn't have a party, but I was happy.
What did you do? Did you do did you just?
No, I was just happy. We talked about it with my friends after.
Okay. So again, do you think that this kind of because the Canadians had won the gold medal, do you think that it was a pretty important event in Canadian history?
Yeah, because it was on the world stage.
Okay. And then before that, do you know how long it was before, or how long had they not won a gold medal?
Oh, I don't know.
Would it have been a long time?
It wouldn't have been a long time because Canada usually does well when it comes to hockey at the Olympics. But
yeah, they get beat by the States a lot too, so it's
well, that's basically the main. Russia and the U.S. are the main competitors.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember when the $1 loonie, or the $1 coin was introduced?
Yes.
What do you remember about it?
People were mad.
Why?
Because they didn't want to give up the paper money.
Why though?
I don't know why. Because I guess it's something that they're so used to. People resist change, and all of a sudden you're telling people who've been carrying bills for all their life that now they're going to be carrying more change. They don't like that. People resist change.
Were you happy about it?
Well, I was young, so it didn't really affect me that much. But my father didn't like it.
Was he mad?
Yeah, because he figured now the money's going to be worth nothing now. So inflation, the old people. They don't like that kind of. Old people don't like change.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any specific stories or anything that you have that you?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
But you have to take into consideration somebody who used to carry $10. They would have, several pieces of paper in their pocket. Now all of a sudden they have 7 loonies in their pocket, and it weighs them down.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's used to not having all that change in their pocket, it's cumbersome now. It's no good. It's not good for them. Mm-hmm. You don't remember that because you were born with the loonie, so it's a part of your life. But somebody who always had paper money, the Americans still don't even have. Oh, actually, they do have a dollar now. No, but they do have a dollar now.
Oh, they do.
They have an American dollar, coin. But anyways.
So, do you remember when the Canadian-U.S. trade agreement was signed in 1988?
Yep.
Is there anything specific about that?
Well, I had this notion that I was going to be going to the United States to do all this shopping and everything was going to be duty-free, but that wasn't the case.
So when you went, were you surprised when they said?
No, I kind of knew. At first, when I thought it was going to happen, when they signed the agreement, I thought, well, now it's just there's going to be no taxes, no duties, no anything. But that wasn't the case. So
So where were you when, like, when you realized that it was free? Like, were you all like happy? Like, were you
Well,
kind of ready to
I just
go
figured
buy
it
stuff?
didn't really affect me personally because it had no benefit to me because I didn't work in the pulp and paper industry or anything like that. So it didn't really affect me.
But you're just really happy that it was happening because you thought you were going to get everything duty free.
Well, yeah, I thought there was something in it for me directly, but there wasn't.
Oh, okay. So what do you think? How do you think it generally like did contribute to Canada as a whole?
Oh, for sure.
How? In what way?
Well, I'm sure they were able to trade goods with less taxes and duties.
Okay, and that
Right.
probably helped the economy and stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you remember, or do you remember when Newfoundland's northern cod fishery was shut down in 1992 because
Yeah.
of low yield?
I did.
What do you remember?
I remember the fishermen were angry because, and it was on the news because that was their livelihood and their only means of income. So if you take that away from people, of course they're going to be upset.
Did you ever see any riots or anything on TV?
Any rise?
Riots.
No, I didn't see riots. I just saw people on the East Coast awfully upset.
Did it impact you in any way directly?
I remember we used to Italians eat codfish at Christmas time and the prices went up.
So they were mad then?
The Italians were not happy.
Did it affect your like?
No, we
Christmas
still did what we had to do, bought it, but like I said before, people don't like change. So all of a sudden the prices are up. That's not good.
Okay. Do you think that this helps the cod fishery?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, 'cause it allows them to reproduce and it'll sustain the fishery.
Do you think that if they didn't have these, or if they didn't have that 2 year shutdown period back then, that it would have
Yeah, they
affected
could
it
have
now?
absolutely could have been depleted altogether, gone.
Do you know how many they've had in the past? Like if they do it frequently, or if they just do it?
I don't know exactly.
Okay. So you think that it was pretty significant because it like helped the codfish?
Well, yeah, it's sustainable.
Yeah, keep it sustainable. Okay.
I'm sure they did a lot of studies and there's a lot of science behind what they did and why, so they know what they're doing.
Can you remember when the toonie was introduced in 1996?
Yep.
Was it pretty much the same as the loony? Like people
Yep.
were just really mad.
People are very mad.
Were they happier though? Because with the toonie, it's worth $2 and it's kind
No,
of the
people
same.
just didn't like it because it was more change now.
Oh. Did you so did you really care about it, or?
Well, I didn't really care about it that much, but like I said, it's a lot easier to carry a piece of paper than a piece of metal.
How do you feel it was significant to Canada, if at all?
I don't think it was significant, really. It was probably easier to make.
Okay.
Probably a lot easier to make a coin and stamp a coin as opposed to keep on reproducing bills. Probably costing more money with the security and everything else to produce those bills than it would be for the coin. That's probably why they did it.
So you think that it was just it wasn't really significant to you? It was a change in your life that probably
Yeah, it was a
benefited.
pain in the butt that I had to carry more change.
Okay. Are there any other significant events in Canadian history that have greatly or really impacted you and how you live your daily life? Try to name one.
Yeah, one significant event is when the Conservative government got in, the Harper government got in, and they deregulated the wheat board, which affected my employment directly because now the companies, all the grain companies now became privatized as opposed to the government owning the grain in Canada. So, before the government handled and owned all the Canadian grain, and they gave the farmers the crop insurance and monitored and took in all the grain at market value. But now the farmers are allowed, they don't the farmers own their own grain now. They don't sell it to the Canadian government, but they also have to market it themselves. So the industry's become more competitive, and because it's privatized. So and of course, with a more competitive being in more of a competitive industry, there's a lot of changes that come in, especially in a large corporation.
So did it make your job more difficult?
Yes, it did.
In what way?
Because now we have corporate policies that involve managing the grain, controlling, monitoring the quality of the grain, making sure that the quality of the grain, the integrity stays. We have to assure our customers that we're going to maintain the grain and keep the quality for them because they're paying us directly for it. Where before the government owned it and it was like they had insurance, everything was taken care of. Now we are responsible for taking care of all that grain and moving it from point A to point B. So there's more logistics involved. There's more costs involved managing, moving logistically from one point to another, getting it to the end customer. Where before now we get paid only when the customer receives the grain, where before we got paid instantly from the government. So there's a lot of different changes.
So it just made your job a lot more
It made us more accountable as a company and a corporation.
Do you remember
to the customer?
Yeah. Do you remember what year that the Harper government?
Oh, that was it wasn't too long ago. I think it was 2012. I think it was.
Okay.
Wheat board deregulated. It wasn't too long ago.
Okay. So we're coming to the end. Is there anything else that impacted you significantly? Or you just generally think that was significant to Canada? That you can remember?
Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay. So right now your current location is Thunder Bay, Ontario, correct?
Yep.
Okay. That is all. Thank you.
Okay.